My name is Joanna Fidalgo. This is my 2002 BMW E46 M3 and this is my 95 Suzuki Cappuccino. For a job, I'm a powertrain strategy engineer. I work for Jaguar Land Rover and I try to define what is going to be the powertrain for future cars, so 2025 onwards. As part of my job, we try to be at the forefront of the future for mobility, and on a normal day it could be planning the transition from combustion engines to more electrified offers. We're looking at offers in different markets, looking at what power levels are going to offer in each market and what cars, and also considering what are the engineering and even the investment implications of that and how we're going to tackle that from a strategic point of view. I started my career with BMW and Mini, so I was doing testing and validation, actually testing the pre-series cars on plant. And then after a few years, I kind of decided I want to have a bit more of a voice in actually defining the future. So I went back to uni to study business management, and then that's how I got into strategy. Part of what I actually love about my job is that we get a real steer where things are going. So you get to actually come up with proposals and solutions that we take to the board, and then they can decide if they actually agree with what we say or not. But you get to do all the background work around that, and it's really, really interesting because there's so many challenges in terms of engineering, in terms of still making the products attractive to the customers, and how do we afford them as a business, and you just want to keep JLR being JLR and delivering the good products that we have at the moment, and making that transition into electrification, but still keeping our identity. My love of cars actually started with bikes. So when I was 16, I got my first bike, and that was kind of the first flavour I had of freedom. And actually, because I was quite shy, and suddenly I had something that gave me access to a community of people that were like-minded, that shared the love of, in that case, bikes. And I think that translates quite well to cars as well. Is the community, is you can just own something that you enjoy, and I think that's kind of what gave me the motivation to work in the industry, because in manufacturing, now in strategy, I still want to give people the opportunity to have a product of the same cars and get the same experience I had from my cars. And I think that's kind of what kept me going. I actually bought the E46 M3 just early this year, so it's quite a recent purchase. Still working through some of the bits, but I owned a Civic Type R EP3 before. It's a really cool car, but I just didn't quite gel with it. Loved it on track, but didn't quite suit my day-to-day use. And for ages looking for something to replace it with, possibly drove my boyfriend crazy, because every day I was just looking on Auto Trader for something new and I just couldn't make up my mind. I think I started looking at 350Zs, then I started looking at Boxsters, looking at Caymans, and then eventually I kind of gave up and went for the E46 M3, which I say gave up because it feels like it's a rite of passage for any petrolhead. Everyone kind of owned one, but I kind of get why, because it's such a fun car. It just does everything so well, and it's just the noise, it's just beautiful. So the Cappuccino is actually my friend's car. So I've got this American friend who lives in Oxford, and he has quite a good philosophy. So since he moved to the UK, he only buys cars that he cannot buy in the US. And at the time he bought the Cappuccino, it was his daily as a student. And I kept seeing it on Instagram, just thought it was the cutest thing. I just really wanted it. And one day he messaged me saying, I'm thinking of selling my car. I'm like, no you're not, because I'm buying it off you. And I remember waking up the next day, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I didn't need another car. I didn't have a place to park it, but I just really wanted it. I really like driving it because it's tiny, so every road, even a B road, is like having a circuit for yourself, because you can just like move around the lanes, you got so much space, and it's a very light car, 64 horsepower, so it kind of moves well for what it is, and it's a little, makes turbo noises and all of that, so it's just a really good, fun, happy car. The wheels in this car are the Manor Turbina S. I actually got them shipped from Australia, and they're authentic 1980s wheels, so they're actually older than the car. I saw them on Instagram, someone had an AutoZone with them. I love the wheels and I had to have them. Car care for me kind of comes as I want to care for my cars because I want to keep them looking amazing and I want to keep it in good condition for as long as I want. These are not cars that I want to sell anytime soon. They're part of who I am. I want to grow old with them, and obviously I need to take care of them so I can enjoy them for as long as I possibly can. And obviously in the UK we had saltier roads. In terms of car care, my cars are not garage queens. I daily the E46. For quite a while I daily the Cappuccino as well. So I mostly just want to preserve them in good condition, make sure they're clean, that they're kept at a good standard, but they're not concours cars. I'm still going to use them, I'm still going to enjoy them, but I'm quite proud and I just want to keep them looking nice and in a good state. I prefer products that are quite easy to use. I don't want to spend too much time cleaning the cars, I'd rather be driving them. But as long as they're good and effective and they do a job, then that's all that matters. The wheels in this car are actually older than me, so when I'm cleaning them, I need to find a product that's not too aggressive. I want to keep them looking polished and nice, but it needs to be something that's going to maintain them in their current condition without damaging the work that's been done to them. The Suzuki Cappuccino is actually a Japanese K car, so is kind of designed specifically for the Japanese market, where they're quite small engines, turbocharged usually, and you could just drive them around cities or around really narrow roads. So if you're there, like a lot of people, they could fit a lot of these cars. It was actually quite an important car also for building the female workforce in Japan, because a lot of people had these as a second car. So women, for the first time, actually had a car they could drive around and go to work. So I kind of like that bit of the story as well. And this is a 600cc car. It's a 3-cylinder turbocharged. It's a rear-wheel drive and weighs around 650 kilos, so it's a hoot to drive. And the great thing about this car is that it's half the size of the M3, so I can spend half the time washing it and then the rest of the time driving it.